points of articulation. Hello and welcome to episode 7, I believe we're on, of the 3 Points of Articulation podcast. I'm the big tasty Jay Wills, and I'm joined this week by Adam the Wrestling Man.
Howdy, howdy.
And Flashback Johnny Fenton.
I'll do.
Is it Flashback, Johnny? Is it Johnny Flashback? What do you prefer to?
It's either Johnny Flashback or just Flashback.
Or just Flashback?
Cesaro.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Once you get past the NXT stage, they'll just shorten you to FB or just Flashy or something. On there.
Yeah.
But this week, we're not speaking about developmental this week. We're talking about the other side of it. Once you're over the hill, we're about the Legends side of things, and more specifically, the AEW Legends line is what our break it down is about this week. Where we're looking at who they could be introduced into the line and who we want to see on there. So that's always good. All right, boys, hope you had a good Christmas.
Yeah.
Legend.
Oh,
Johnny, go first.
I just said it's all good. We had a good time, lots of food, and a lot to drink on Boxing Day too.
Yeah, mine was legendary. Let's stick with the theme.
The theme, lovely. Brilliant. Right, well, she'll be back in a second with some News World Order. I hope you guys have got some lovely news set up for us. So we'll be back in 2.
News.
News World Order time now, and we're looking at all the latest news from the last episode of the podcast. I'll kick us off this week. Basically, Edge Elite 83. Have you guys seen the hands for this? Basically, yeah, it's been released as the 2 sweet hands rather than the rock and roll Edge the Edge hands, basically. Have you guys seen images of this? Adam, have you seen these?
I've not seen images of it. I've read the reports of it though.
Yes, I have seen reports, and Steve has confirmed that they're going to do a running change. So it's going to change from the Wolfpack sign to the what's called the rock and roll sign, as demonstrated on screen.
Crazy, isn't it? So I think obviously I'm guessing that Mattel, obviously the people that work in their toy department, not all of them are wrestling fans. They're just people that work in a toy department. So they see that and that. I'm not going to see much of a difference in there, as all I can think of. But
well, it's just idle hands anyway, isn't it? As we already know.
Yes.
For anyone who needs them, though, it's the only 2 sweet hands without any decoration on, or without any like bands or anything like that. So it's the first set of clean hands if anybody needs them for any reason.
Oh well, they probably will be used quite a lot, like for the Wolfpack, Nash Hall, etc. I don't have them.
That's very look for the rainbow in the storm there, Adam, wasn't it? It was, yeah, they're suiting the wrong hands, but at least they're clean, which is good.
Mm-hmm. And a different skin tone, apparently.
No, so that's good. Who's next for some news? Johnny?
Okay, we have seen recently that Pro Wrestling Tees are going to do a Vader, and sorry, that was for the micro brawlers. And with a bit of a unique way of selling, they're just going to be on sale for 24 hours. And whatever is ordered during that time is how many they're going to produce. So this is almost like a limited edition, but it's more time limited than quantities. So it's a unique way of doing it. I'm quite sort of intrigued as whether we could see this from other companies down the line.
Yeah, so that's interesting. How do you think it'll go? Do you think people will buy in bulk and it end up maybe having more quantities than previous ones? Or do you think it will actually become limited edition? I can't figure that one out.
With the popularity of how these things are selling now, I think there'll be a lot of people ordering them. So I think they're going to be quite abundant, but also still quite sought after. I think you'll get retailers and secondary market retailers that are going to buy them and sell them on for a bit of profit. So I think there's always going to be more ordered by those types of people, so they can sell them on make some money.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea from Pro Wrestling Tees to do it this way, because the secondary market is probably making a lot more than Pro Wrestling Tees are on these anyway. So by doing it this way, everyone that wants one can get one in that window, rather than it being we're going live at 7 o'clock and there's only 100. If you're not there, you're not there. It's a full day, fill your boots, and if you want one, you can get one. So people that are wanting one now can get one, rather than having to miss out and then fork out for a lucrative price in the future. So good idea from them, I think.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Adam, what you got for us?
Not much today, to be honest. I had the Edge news. The only real thing for collectors that they might want to watch is the major podcast I've put out a YouTube. It's almost 2 hours long, and it is a complete history of the Tonka WWF wrestling buddies that you see behind me. So the fact that it's 2 hours suggests there's going to be a lot of filler in that, because there's not that many. But if you like them like I do, luckily for me, I managed to pick them two up cheap. Couldn't afford the big boys, I don't think. But if you like them and you want to know about them, it's probably going to be kind of similar to the kind of Toys That Made Us type of programming, I would imagine. Not actually watched it yet, but it's high on my watch list. So I'll be giving that a watch in the next couple of days.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a watch when I get round to it. I'm not as excited as to go watch as I was with the Hasbro episode, which quite frankly was a phenomenal piece on the Hasbros. Those guys know their stuff. So I'm guessing, you say it's 2 hours long, they're going to have a lot of details. They're going to know the thick stuff, and it might not even be filler. It might be completely really imaginative stuff or news that we've never heard for 20 plus years, 30 plus years since they've been released.
Yeah, I've watched it. So basically, they go through the 8 that you get in the series. So you got the Hogan, the Warrior, the Boss Man, DiBiase, Macho King, Jake, and LOD. Yeah. So they go through the full series of those, and then they have a conversation with, I think she's called Stephanie, who worked at Tonka designing these. So basically, they go through all the different designs they had and how she created them and how it came about, and then they sort of go through everything else that they basically rip-offs of it. So the WCW ones that they had, and then a bit later on as well. So the interview's really good. It's really good to watch. I say you can't. A lot of it is stretching 8 things out over 2 hours time, but the interview's about half an hour long, so it's quite a good one to tuck into. If you like
Certainly on the watch list.
Yeah, definitely. It's just trying to find a spare 2 hours in this crazy few weeks that we call the festive period, isn't it?
Certainly. I've got loads of podcasts downloaded to listen to. Conrad Thompson must have just recorded loads and loads. So there's lots from Bruce Pritchard, Eric Bischoff, etc. that I'm following more so than normal. It's been like 3 in 1 week. So huge backlog.
And now you've got this to add to the list.
Do.
Lovely. Johnny, what other news have you got for us?
The only other news I've got is that we've seen the pictures of AEW Series 3. So have you guys seen them?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right, Adam, you say unfortunately. What's unfortunate? Or should we just go through them one by one?
Yeah, let's do that.
So let's start with Orange Cassidy. Comes with his the iconic jeans look. Comes with a shirt, jacket, which apparently all stuck together. So you couldn't take the jacket off to reveal the shirt. And hand which fit in the pocket.
And your face scan.
Apparently he looks like me. With glasses on.
It's awful. To me, the clothing looks nice. I think. So I didn't realize that the jacket and the t-shirt were together, but I mean, they look fine. I think they look a bit lighter than he normally wears. But face scan wise, no offense, Johnny, it doesn't look very good. I think the figure itself, I know it's only like the renders of the first edition one we've seen, but it looks relatively cheap. One of the reasons why I've stayed away from this line and from the AEW figures has been because of just issues they've had. So Yeah, so far not so good from me.
Yeah,
I'd
I think it looks all right. Sorry.
Go on.
I just said I thought it looks all right with the sunglasses on. So I think it'd be a good display piece, but
Yeah,
leave the
so
glasses.
if someone said to you in the street, you look fine with your sunglasses on," would you take that as a compliment or
I know I do.
no?
I think it does look a little cheap. You can tell they've put the effort in, and I appreciate that with the hands and the clothing. I imagine as soon as that figure comes out of the box, the clothes are going to look even baggier than they already do. And it's too baggy for me. So he's quite a slimline kind of guy, and it just looks too baggy. So it does look a bit cheap for me.
Moving on. Next we have throw me a name. Riho.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Giant Gonzalez itself. Yeah, I think it's once again it's a very, very strange looking figure. I don't know where they got the face scan from. I'm not sure if she was sneezing when they took it, but yeah, it's just not for me this one either personally. And it's a chase as well, so double the whammy.
Yeah,
Such a pointless chase.
Yeah, a bit of a waste of a chase. AEW have actually done quite well on the chases so far. They've been worth getting. I mean, you can't get them, but it's been worth getting. And this one, unless they make any change before it comes out, does not look worth getting. And the face is just the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, I do think the face looks better on the normal rather than the chase, so at least that's a bit of a bonus. Slightly better. And the women's title, which is the selling point.
Yeah, but yeah, I think face wise, they both just look a bit off for me personally.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of chases, we also get a Derby Allen with a 1 in 500 chase. Now this is probably going to be the one that's flying off the shelves, I would imagine. Comes with a skateboard, which is pretty cool, and entrance gear on both of them. So is that true? Or am I losing out?
I'm not sure about that you said, but this one does look quality. It looks like the only one that everyone will really want to get, and I don't think it's just because of his look. I think the figure is actually quite well done on this one, which doesn't go with the series.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the budget's gone this series. They forked out on the tech decks from the early 2000s. I think the chase figure actually looks completely different to the. Well, I say completely different. There's a full body side face paint rather than half of the face being painted. But I think out of the whole series, he's the one that I like the least in real life, but the figure looks the best out of the series.
He was always going to make a fantastic toy. Toyetic is the term, isn't it?
Indeed. I think the skateboard's just going to add to that.
Yes. Speaking of maybe not so toyetic, we have Pac. Pac's quite a bland figure in terms of the attire, it's just trunks and boots and that sort of thing. Comes with two heads, one with the hair over the face and one with the face showing. Now, because the face scan isn't very good, I think I'll be displaying with the hair over the face. What do you guys think?
It's a reverse Bret Hart, basically, where you're actually quite glad for the hair to be over the face.
Well, that's what I said. I'm glad that there is a version with the hair over the face because it kind of hides where the face doesn't look too good on the other one.
It's very bad.
It's almost like they've stretched his face. It's really long for some reason, and the beard that they've put on makes it look even longer. And again, it's comparable with Giant Gonzalez. Again, like Jamie said with Rio, if you put that head in a picture with the WWE Mattel head, there's just no comparison. You can see how bad the AEW one is.
I guess the one, I mean, I don't know if you guys have looked yet, but if you take the head off the AEW one, can you put a WWE head on that? You put a Mattel head on it?
I've never held one loose yet, so I'm not sure.
No, same. But yeah, I don't know. If you can, I mean, that would improve the figure, I guess. But yeah, it's just a very strange one. I'm not sure what their pose. I know he hasn't been there for a few months before they made the figure, but they would have seen pictures of him, surely. Yeah, it's very strange why they've done that.
Yep, never mind. So what do you think about him selling? Because me and Adam, we've got our online figure shops on eBay, and I've got to say, Neville figures are not selling too well for me, especially the basics. So I just wonder if we're going to see him maybe shelf warming.
I would imagine so. I think the only Neville that really sells well was the one from right at the end of his run, where he became like the really evil Neville, the gold shorts one. That one sells really well for me, and this one's kind of in the same vein of character-wise. So I can see it selling quite well over here, at least.
Oh, let's hope so. But it's probably just the old AEW mania. I didn't see John Moxley selling too well, and he's been probably the most popular out of the series too. So I could be mistaken with that. Anyway, to round out the series, we've got our second release of the Young Bucks, and they come in a more of an iconic Young Bucks look compared to the one-off versions in Series 1. I've got to say, I do think they're a big improvement on the last ones, attire-wise at least.
Attire-wise, yeah. I think face-wise, no. Personally, I think it's either is it the same or just a little bit worse. I think they look a bit stranger, or they're put in some form of face which looks like it's hard to capture in a toy. But yeah, I just don't think they look great. But as I say, outfit-wise, it does look good. Obviously, Adam's got his customs behind there of that moment anyway. So it's a moment that means someone. So they did need to release those figures. So it's good that they released them in Series 1, Wave 1, whatever they called it. But yeah, I think this is needed. You've had, 2 Omegas, 2 Codys, 2 Jerichos, and now 2 Bucks.
Yep, got to release those VPs in bulk.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you a little bit on the faces. I do actually think the faces are slightly better on these new ones. The attire is better. Obviously, I was at Double or Nothing, so the first attire for me is going to be the iconic one. But these ones are, like Jono says, the more usual Bucks. So we didn't need it, but they're out and they're okay.
Yeah, I quite like them. I wasn't sure about the face when Jamie said they were terrible, because I didn't think they were too bad either. But, when it's just not there in front of you, you can't really agree or disagree. But I thought they were okay.
Yeah, I think they're not as good as Wave 1. But they're still better than Pac and Rio. So
It is.
we'll agree on that. But yeah, I think all in all, it just goes to show that at the moment they can release literally anything and people get excited about it. So it'd be interesting.
That's true.
Yeah, I think it's because it's the first line that obviously we've had quite a big boom at the start of this year, haven't we, with the lockdown, a lot of them getting into it, myself included. So I think people have really sort of pulled the trigger on certain things, and it's the first line that's been released from fresh. So it's the first line that you can collect every single one of, bar the chases and some other things. So I think that's probably why there's been quite a lot of boom in this, because people want to be those people that have everything rather than anything else.
I think I'm collecting.
I'll definitely agree with you on that one, Jamie, because this is the first one that I am collecting from fresh. So this is the first one that I want them all. Obviously, like you say, buy the chases. But my aim is to get every single one of them on this. So yeah, you're probably right, because I'm not normally a completist. I'm not that kind of collector, and I am doing with these. So
yeah, I gotta admit, I've got the same sort of feeling towards it. It's almost like a fear of missing out as well, where I'm buying them without fully knowing if I'm going to keep it up. But at least if I've got them, I've got the option to keep hold of them or to let them go if so be it. But at the moment, yeah, definitely be getting them all if I can. Not the chase, because that's just not going to happen ever.
You never know.
Nah, I'm not spending that sort of money.
Just to clarify as well, they're not. There's only one chase in the series and one rare. Have you guys noticed that? So you get.
Yeah. I was just putting them into like one version of a word chase. Yeah, same thing really.
Yeah, I think Rio's the chase and then Darby's the rare. I think from the thing. But I have to wait and see. If I ever pick one up, I'll let you guys have it for 10 times the value. All right, sweet. Well, we'll be back. We will be back in a second. Easy for me to say.
Some lovely pick-me-ups.
Ding dong, Marilyn. Hi and welcome back. It's pick-me-ups time, and we're looking at all of our grabs over the festive period and seeing what we've got. Adam, do you want to kick us off?
I will. I'll start off with a biggie. It won't look like a biggie, but it's going to be a biggie for me. I picked up, out of complete fashion with me, I picked up the Street Profits Elites from Smiths. We spoke in a previous episode about how good the accessories were and things like that, especially with good old Montez Ford. I've had an 80s display for going on 2.5 years now, and it's time to change it. So I'm going to change my Detolf, whatever it's called, in the back. And I'm going to go for a tag team theme through the ages. So
Nice.
Those are my first purchase to go with the nowadays people, because I don't usually collect nowadays figures.
Well, that's an interesting collection to start on tag teams, because sometimes I think that these figures are really good, but they just don't fit in with the rest of my things, only collecting flashbacks. So if there's anything that changed my mind, it would be the Street Profits. They are very good, those ones.
I thought it was going to be Big E, to be honest. You said Big E quite a lot. I thought you were going to bring out Big E, but maybe in the future, maybe in tag teams. But yeah, I think seeing pictures of them, I think they look remarkable, the pair of them. How do they look in person?
Yeah, they're good. I mean, Montez Ford looks better, to be honest. The body shape and stuff is pretty perfect for Montez Ford, and with the accessories. Dawkins is Dawkins. He's never going to be the better one out of the two. But again, body shape and stuff, I think they've nailed on. I won't be sure about height until I get him out of the box.
Nice.
He's looking in good
Very
shape
good.
recently, as Dawkins as well. I saw on SmackDown last week, so yeah, I think they could be quite hot on them. Because I think I don't know if you've seen. Obviously, they have a lot of people at the moment complaining about weight issues and so on. I think he's one of the people that was in that, so it looks like he's trimmed down quite a lot, which is always good. Side note to your figures.
Doesn't want to get sent back to developmental like the
No.
rest of them.
No, exactly. I'd let him keep his belt.
Right. Shall we move on to myself? So recently on the Elite Wrestling Community Facebook page, we did a Secret Santa. So this is where you would just buy a load of gifts for someone you don't really know to the value of about £50 and send it on. So what I received was, I've got a Macho Man and Hogan print from Beyond the Mat. I've got Outsiders t-shirt. I already have one of those, so at least the kind of like we're on the right track of things I do like. The Sting t-shirt that you see in front of you, cracking that one. I was really happy to get that one because it was definitely something I would buy myself either way. We've got Ric Flair statue. I've just opened it to feel what it's like. It's got quite a bit of weight to it, surprisingly. Quite well made, to be fair. I don't know whether it actually come with this card, but this was in the box. I'm not sure if the guy who sent it put this in as a spare or it actually does come with it. But there you go, Ric Flair card. And I've got a lot of WCW cards in their original wrappers. So that was pretty impressive. Must be quite a bit of value to those now. About 30-year-old. And that was it from the Secret Santa. Very happy.
It's good, yeah. I think a lot of them are pretty much. I'm guessing you asked for WCW legends, did you? Or?
I said usually you're supposed to give to wrestlers, but last time I did that, I selected Bret Hart and everything I got, I already had. So I decided just to keep it vague and say WWE or WCW legends. So I think they've done really well with what they've bought. So I'm very appreciative of that.
It's a good use of the £50. That there was quite a lot of variety, quite a lot of differences. Yeah. I think those statues are intriguing to me because they don't stick out to me, and they won't make me buy them unless they're really cheap. But I think once I actually have one, it could be something that I purchase more of.
Shout.
Yeah, it's going to be nothing compared to your Shawn Michaels one, is it, that you have? But I think obviously, yeah, looking at value-wise compared to what it is, it looks quite decent. Because you get a little card in there as well.
I'm not sure whether this actually come with it or the person who sent it just put it in as an extra gift.
Maybe
I've only just
a little Willy Wonka style golden ticket. If you win that, you get to meet Richard Flair himself.
Who knows? I'm not sure.
You don't want to meet Ric Flair. He completely ignores you, as in my experience.
No, bad times.
Yeah, so I picked up. I didn't have mine now. So I got some retros. So we're doing the retro review. Since looking at yours, Jono, I think I really enjoyed the retro figures more than I'd say any series I've seen recently, only because of the sort of nostalgia feels you get from them, as well as, or some of the looks are quite good as well. So as off one of the wrestling Facebook groups, I picked up a Kane, I got a Mankind, I got a Macho Man, and I got an Iron Sheik. The four I got. Also picked up some more, which we'll cover in the retro review a bit later on. But yeah, there was a chap that was selling, I think he was selling that the whole of his Hasbro collection as well as a lot of his retros. So yeah, I think it picked him up in very, very good condition. I think he opened a mint and shipped them that way. So yeah, very, very impressed with those. It's 40 quid for all four posted, so which is quite good.
Good shout, good price.
But yeah,
yes, I mean, doing this podcast, you kind of have to buy them. It's part of our brand that we have to be involved with the retros, or retro, as we say it.
as you say.
As I say it.
Yeah, as I said, I think it's probably the line that's a lot more, I say, affordable, but I quite like the cheapy ones compared to the others. So good place to start is the old cheapy ones, I think.
Yeah, I think 3 out of those 4 will go up in value, though. I think Iron Sheik, nobody's ever going to want, but the other 3, decent.
You'd be surprised by Sheik. I think he's one of the better sellers from his series, at least. I think it's because people want to have legends over current stars. So it's not a bad figure.
Yeah, so I won't go into too much detail on them because so Sheik's coming up in a future series, and we've covered the other 3 already, I believe, on there. So I also won a raffle last night for the first time on Legion of Hasbro group. Shout out to Phil and the boys. So anyway, that's for the New Day set and the Macho Madness one. So only won it last night, and it was Sunday, so I'll let them off that they're not here yet. But yeah, so they should be in the post. I add them to my collection.
Yeah, speaking of Legion Hasbro, just a little shout out. They sent me a lovely Christmas card with Rick Rude on the front there. It reads Rick Rudolph, and that was from the guys at the Legion of Hasbro. So it was a nice little touch to send that on.
It was.
You can tell their favourite is, can't you?
Obviously.
Right. Back to me. I'll stick with the kind of retro-y Hasbro type of line. I got my latest 2 Hasbro customs from Old School Customs on Facebook. Mike does a cracking job. I've spoke to you guys before about my love of Shaska Watley. So I've got my Shaska Watley one from the Jive Tones era when he teamed with Tiger Conway Jr. Now I'm on tag teams. I guess I've got to get Tiger. And also we've got Viscera from the Ministry era Viscera. Pulling quite a grimace, so definitely not the Love Machine Viscera. These are cracking. Mike sells them for pretty cheap compared with the effort that he puts in and the product that comes out eventually. So get yourself onto Old School Customs on Facebook and have a look at them.
Yeah, I'll have to make ganders on those because I think they're one of the sponsors. They're doing a competition, aren't they, on the Fantasy League?
They are indeed on the Fantasy Wrestling League. Winner 2
Yeah,
or an LOD.
Yes, I've dealt with Mike a couple of times. Really top-notch guy, and I really do enjoy seeing the work he comes out with. Just custom Hasbro is not for me. Certainly not yet, anyway. But maybe some point down the line, I might get my arm twisted.
Back to you, Jono.
Well, back to me, of course. I'll go with this one. So, a few months ago, I bought a Gorilla Monsoon, and it was an elite one, very costly, obviously. And I wanted to open it, but I didn't want to open it, if that made sense. So I ended up getting another one. And the box isn't in tremendous shape, so it's going to make it a lot more easier to open. And it also came with a Bobby Heenan Fan Central, and I got them both for £80. So I thought it was a cracking deal. And it justifies me being able to open this one. So shall be opening this one soon.
Wear a mask and a striped jumper at that price. Do you know?
Yeah, it was a pretty good offer by the seller on eBay. So shout out to him.
Amazing. Never seen a Gorilla Monsoon anywhere near that, especially with another figure.
Yeah, I mean, the Bobby Heenan, I've checked some of the sold listings, and that was going for, £40-50 as well. So not bad.
Because I think I looked loose before I bought the Weasel. I think he was 30, 35 loose.
Yeah, I'm on about the Fan Central as well, which is the miniature outfit.
Yeah, that's the one I've got. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I looked at the Fan Central one before I bought the Weasel one. So I needed a Bobby Heenan. So yeah, that was 30, 35 loose. So I think getting him in box, I assume, is it?
Yeah, both boxed.
Absolute steal.
Absolutely. Next,
Adam.
Back to me. So this is just a little Christmas present. I mentioned on a previous podcast about how my missus tries to get me something. Good old Rachel tries to get me something. She got diddled this year, basically. But brilliant that she actually tried to get it. She went for something on Etsy, and it's something from a place that called itself a vintage place. So she paid £6 for a vintage X-Pack photo card, because she thought it was something that would be like limited edition and things like that, but obviously it's just one photo card out of it. To be fair to the seller, they've printed out a nice little picture of Shawn Michaels, written that it's from WrestleMania 23 where he was challenging for the title. They've put a bit of effort into it. It's definitely not worth what she got, but love her nonetheless. Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, it's always good effort. At least she tried. And I think I'll piggyback off that and say I got a couple of things off the missus as well. There's a couple of T-shirts. She got them. I think she got them made especially. So I don't know if this is coming up the right way around to you. It says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Except wrestling practice. Wrestling practice will kill you. So that's a good one for me, since I'll be hopefully going back to wrestling practice in the new year. So I'll be wearing that there.
I'll piggyback off that as well before you go to your next one, Johnny. This has got this Royal Rumble homage top. One I've been looking at for a while. I only saw it on a website which was not on the trusted list, so I didn't pick it up. She ordered it from America. Got a packet of baseball cards as well, which were strange. I'll send to you about them, Adam, about the baseball cards, and I'm not sure what they are or why they're in there, but they've arrived nonetheless. So got some baseball cards, lovely. Not sure where they are actually. I'll dig them out in a second.
Yeah, still going off the same thing. She got me another T-shirt which says "Your son, my son," as if my son's like a wrestler and yours isn't. But to make that even better, I think she's got a bit of an obsession of getting matching T-shirts for the little one. So there's a "Your daddy, my daddy" with the same pictures. So that was pretty cool if you wear them together.
Definitely cool, that one.
Obviously, I think Mrs. also got me I haven't seen that before, and it's not on the network, so I
Surprise! It's not on the network.
No, I know, but I think it's always. I think I don't know whether I had it or I wanted to get it on the PSP. When they had the PSP DVDs, UMDs, it was released on that, and I think I almost picked it up once and didn't. And since reading a lot more about the Warrior, and I think, did you mention it the other week, Johnny? I said to her about it, and I thought, I'll give it a watch. I think apparently a lot of it is farcical, but
yeah, we probably mentioned at some point. It's just when WWE want to rip on the Warrior.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, there's some truth to some of these things, but it's a negative piece on Warrior. But they also did a positive one, so it wears itself out, I guess.
I'll start with a negative one. And he also got me an Attitude Era DVD box set. which is 9 discs, which is too many. It's too many discs for me personally. I'll probably stick with 5 discs or something. 9 discs is too much. Speaking about being ripped off, actually got me some coasters. You thought I was blurry. You see that?
I do like them. They're pretty cool.
Quite nice. You got Rumble 92 and then Mania 17. It's very, very blurry.
Yeah, it's a good idea though. I quite like it.
Yeah, very good idea. In theory, yeah, it's just kind very blurry. But I'll keep my coffee on the WrestleMania 17 one. Best chance of spinning it.
Nice.
So I'll take over then. My latest eBay purchase. Not purchased much from eBay. I think Jono will recognise this one. It is the Macho King figure.
Yeah.
Very cheap purchase, about 25 quid, I think it was, on eBay. Fully complete. One that I don't have. One that would have gone in behind me straight away, but now with my tag team thing, I'll have to have a think about that.
Yes, you are welcome, because I seen that before you and left it. Then I went back to maybe go get it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should have got it. Then I found that you had it, so I was quite happy for you. Well done.
Yeah, I thought it was a bargain.
Good figure. I like it.
I think especially when you see what it goes for in other places. I know we had a look elsewhere, didn't we, to see what it was going for, and it was 2, maybe 3 times what you paid for it. So very good.
Yeah, well done. Shall we move on? So last time we were on, I mentioned that I started to get the AEW Series 2, and that I had pre-order to finish them off. So I did pick up Hangman Page and Rey Phoenix. So that completes the Series 2. And there's Adam with his own one as well. So yes, these have been popping up recently. It got released slightly later in the UK than the rest of the series. So I don't know if it could be quite sought after those Rey Phoenix ones. So go pick up that.
Jamie, you got any more?
I've got ones from my mum for Christmas. Classic Mary, dropping some Christmas merch on me. Every year I say to her, Mum, don't get me a calendar. Every year she goes, I won't get you a calendar. And then every year I get a calendar, don't I? So a wrestling calendar, which will be warming the shelves at the British Heart Foundation come tomorrow. And then we've got a book of the greatest 100 wrestling matches. It's a bit disappointing that it's not in order. It's just they've very much gone with sort of just 100 random matches. Like for example, we've got Lesnar versus Angle there from SmackDown, the Iron Man match, and so on. So it's in there, and she got me these shorts. So that's always good. Stone Cold there.
Are those chalk line?
Chalk line indeed. I got a bit of a buzz from after getting the other pair. And if you tell me that I'm a large in any clothing, I'm going to buy as many as I can.
Yep. Always a good tip to buy the size below you for those.
And then they say in the jacket to get the size up.
Probably, yeah.
So,
some of the sizes on WWE shop make no sense. It's like I bought a hoodie that's a small and it fits perfectly or even slightly baggy, and then I buy the varsity hoodie and it's like I'm wearing something for a child.
Yeah, I've fallen into the same problem with that. I got a Roddy Piper varsity one, and it's like a what they called the crop tops.
Yeah,
like blue mean.
So wholly made those ones.
Well, that's me purchases. I'm all out of buys.
I'll continue then with the AEW theme. Managed to get one of these from Smith's.
Oh.
The AEW UK exclusive ring with Cody.
Turbo Man.
Yeah. And I'll call you on that as well. So there's one for me too.
Yeah, I do think the Cody is very, very slightly better than the Series 1 Cody. It's still not perfect, but the face is much, much better on this one for me.
Yeah, I really like that one. I do think it's a lot better. I don't know if Is the sizing any different? Because I think he looks almost okay in this one. It doesn't look too short.
I've not compared it because I've not got any loose at the moment, so I'll be looking to pick up some looses on eBay, I think.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on Series 1, but actually, a bit of news is that Big Pop Shop are getting Series 1 when they're going to have the second batch of releases. So I was happy that the pre-order is not getting cancelled.
Excellent, good stuff. And I managed to get myself to Smith's yesterday. About 5 or 6 Smiths in the country seem to get some brandies in. So I got there at 10:30. The person in front of me in the line was going to buy all 5 of these, and I managed to convince him not to. So I've managed to pick up myself a brandy, and also one for you, Jono.
Yes.
It is what it is. AEW have played it quite well with the way that they've sent these out, I think, the distributors. It doesn't look anything like brandy. It's not a good figure, but considering I'm being a completist on this one, it needs to be got.
Yes, I was very impressed to hear you negotiate yourself getting 2 of those off the guy who wanted to buy 5. So I was very happy that you were able to get one for me as well. Plus, what a hero you are.
Do we have to ask what you did to convince him?
Basically, he was going to buy all 5, and he'd asked the woman to go and get them. A different woman brought them out and put them on the shelf directly in front of me. To which I said, "There you go, buddy. You were first, but I would appreciate it if I could have 2 of them," in a very nice, dull tone to show my seriousness.
Scared him off.
Don't mess about in the wrestling, man. He must have heard about you.
I suppose that was an extra 3 on eBay then.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. If he was going to buy all 5, it might have kept 1, but the rest would have been going.
They're crazy prices at the moment, aren't they? I think you guys sent me a picture over earlier of just the sold listings, and it's sickening.
Yeah, about 100. Well, the last one went for on eBay on auction.
Let's move on to my last one, and it is the Cella Toys Nick Aldis. It's been sent out in the post this week. Adam's got one as well, and I really like the card. The packaging's really good. The card's like quite hard. It's not like the retros where it's soft and damaged pretty easy. I like the figure, the body, and the attire, but the head is just bad. Unfortunately, it's like a cheap £1 toy head. I can only describe it as that, and quite very much out of scale with the rest of the body, unfortunately. Just hope we can see an improvement in future toys for Adam.
Yeah, I think there's enough there to enough positives to take from that. I saw that the ones that Nick had sent out himself, the signed ones, he'd sent in jiffy bags, and I did feel very sorry for the people that received those because the cards were all bent, even though it is hard, like you say. I did see a couple of reports about the ones from Cella Toys themselves being sent in rubbish packaging. I've got to completely disagree with that. Mine came properly packaged to the nines, in much better packaging than you get from the shops that you normally buy figures from. Unfortunately for me, I got it straight home, put it on my shelf, and it fell off. So I've got a big dink in mine here now, which is very annoying. But fair play to Cella on that one. I've got to give him the big up.
It's probably the head that weighed it down, I imagine.
Yeah. Actually, why not? I'm going to open it right now. So have a look at it.
How much? Well, whilst he's opening through it, what did you guys pay for it? Did you find out how much you paid for it yet?
For Nick Aldis? I can't remember now.
Oh, every time I asked you two, you both said, "Oh, I can't remember." I don't remember.
Well, it wasn't much. It was about 15, I think, maybe 15, 20.
Yeah, about 15 quid.
The mini pack was 25, and it was less than the mini pack.
So there's me dropped it.
Dropped it already, so the value's gone down.
So there he is. Yeah. So
how does it feel?
It feels quite rubbery. Doesn't rotate at the hips like it normally would on a Hasbro, and there's no sort of spring action at all. It just it's all one piece. It doesn't like bash down or anything like that. It's just stuck in place. But like the the arms you'd see on a basic or whatever.
Does it feel like a bootleg?
It feels like I think it feels like good quality. It looks good quality. It just the head is not quite there, and I was expecting some sort of spring action. I don't know. Yeah, I thought it would have smashed down or something like that.
Yeah, because it does say it does something on the box. It says it does the Kingsling Cloverleaf, and it makes it look like it's going to do it. So yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any actions. Although, actually, it does say so on there, doesn't it?
It does say real megastar action on the front of it. So.
And it's got like an up and down mechanism. Have I got a dud or something?
You could have.
That can't be true. I'll have to ask some other people that's got it and opened it and see what the crack is.
I know. The reason I asked. Crack on, sorry, Adam.
It says to activate, articulate arms to down position, which kind of makes it sound like you've got to physically do it yourself. So it might not actually do anything. It might just be the fact that you can put the arm up and then put it down. So
yeah, I think that's it. There's certainly no spring action. In fact, the arm just comes off very easily. It goes back and forward, but yeah, that came off quite easily.
Is it broken or is it just pop out and pop in?
Yeah, it pops out and pops in.
Oh, that's right then.
Is what it is. Just comes off pretty easy. So I guess if you want to customize and things like that, it might be quite beneficial.
Maybe you can put a working arm on it.
Well, I don't think so. I'm not that clever.
No, but also saying, I know WrestleBox had the Nick Aldis box for 30 quid, and you get one of those in it. That's what I was asking about price wise, whether that's sort of worth it to do if you just wanted the figure.
Yeah, I think it was like £15 or £16 each, plus your $3.99 shipping or whatever it was.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that
it's not bad. Depends what else you get with it, and it depends how much you like Nick Aldis. To be fair,
not massively, but I don't want to have FOMO where it's sort of, well, would you include that in the retros line? I know it's not the same as the retros line, but
it's hard. I've got one just for comparison. It's Chris Jericho here, about the same height, maybe a bit smaller actually. So I would say it's a completely different line.
Right, okay, that's fine. I don't need to pick one up.
I'm out.
Right.
I'm done.
Me too.
Oh, good stuff.
All done.
Well, Christmas hauls. Right, lovely. We shall be back in a second with our weekly talking point on the AEW Legends line. We're back in 2.
Break it down.
Break it down time now, and we're looking at the AEW Legends line, the potential AEW Legends line. Jono, do you want to take us through?
Yeah, it's sort of like some news that I've held off for a few weeks because Jeremy at Jazzwares has 99.9% confirmed that they're going to go down the Legends route with these. I believe that was mentioned in a Twitch video on the Major Wrestling Pod. So and since that we have seen, the AEW signed Sting, so that's quite a good coup in terms of legendary names. So I just thought we could maybe try and fantasy book, talk about the possibilities, see what we can and can't do within this line. So have you got any initial opening thoughts, Adam?
Yeah, Cody, Bucks, Kenny Omega, all from the past. I assume they're going to release them all again. But seriously, there is quite a few options. I think the TNA Impact partnership that they've got now will open quite a few doors if the people join AEW that they would need to. We did see a line like this in TNA, which opened up your Hogans and your Stings. Sting is obviously the initial one. I don't know about Dustin or how much WWE would have over his previous character with them on in WCW. It just depends on the NWA lineup as well.
Yeah, I mean, what I thought was the same as you with TNA, but I also thought the same with NWA because they seem to have a working relationship with them by having the NWA Women's Champion wrestle. And I've just had a bit look, and I found like the belt I've just put on the Nick Aldis from the last segment, that Toy Biz release with TNA. So it'd be good to get the NWA, the world title and tag titles in that line somehow as well. So if you get a working relationship between NWA, Impact, and AEW, I think we've got a lot of possibilities where we can go. And you're thinking about your Dustin Rhodes. Obviously, we can't see a Goldust, but we could see a natural Dustin Rhodes, and I think it would be almost a shoe-in for the first series for me. A natural Dustin Rhodes and the skills never been made. I'd love to see it.
Didn't he was in TNA as well, wasn't he? Dustin Rhodes, Goldust.
Yeah, short tenure, I believe, but I don't know much about TNA. I wasn't there.
Was he called Rain or something?
It was something like that. I can picture it now. He was wearing like white makeup or something.
Yeah, it was Black Rain, and if you mention it to him on Twitter, you get blocked, apparently. It mustn't be a time in his life he's very proud of, because he was quite out of shape and things at the time as well. So I think he takes it personally.
Yeah, so who doesn't watch this? But yeah, I think obviously Dustin would be a good one to start with. I think also you got the likes of the Tully Blanchard, which so I watched. I think it was the '89 Rumble yesterday. And obviously, he comes out in that. I think that's a good era for him. Moving the Brainbusters, but once again, licensing and so on could be a bit difficult. But Tully Blanchard himself will be good, as well as Arn Anderson as well. Is he on the roster? I forget, Johnny.
He certainly is on the roster. He's employed by AEW, of course.
That's good. Yeah, so he's definitely on the roster. So he would definitely qualify for a figure then. And obviously you got your Vicky Guerrero, which should have a figure and so on. So I think they could do a good line there. And I think the one that speaks out for me the most, hopefully it's food for thought, but I think a Taz. We haven't seen a decent Taz.
Yep.
That's the one that I want to see.
Yeah, I'll be down for that. I think there's a lot of possibilities in terms of that sort of thing. And you were saying about not naming the rights and stuff. What confuses a lot of people is that owning footage, say like WWE owns WCW, doesn't mean they own the likeness to the people that appeared in that video or the attires that they wore. But there is things like, let's say that they sign Roddy Piper, they might not be able to use the T-shirt that says Rowdy, but they could change it to the same font and put Piper. So if you think back, do you remember the Legends of Wrestling games that came out for the PS3 and Xbox? Some of those attires used were just very small tweaks of things that were used in WWE. So the example was the Roddy Piper with Piper instead of Rowdy. I believe they made an Owen Hart, which had, instead of saying Slammy Winner, it said Owen. So there's possibilities to make small tweaks where they're not going to get into any sort of legal mumbo jumbo. But there is things like gimmicks that might not be able to use, such as, your Adam Bombs, Crush, maybe. I believe Demolition, there's a grey area where you could actually get Demolition in this line. So that would be a really toyetic legend team to go after if they can. I don't fully understand it myself, so I'm not an expert, but I think there's a lot more possibilities than people think.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that if you don't own that person, you own the footage that person was in. I think certain logos, as you said before, like the Hot Rod one and so on, I think they're ones that have been designed from WWE designers, and that's probably why they own that. So I guess that makes sense. I think, you could. I can't think of another scenario from the current ones that are on AEW that would have the same situation, but yeah, it makes sense.
I think a nice touch for them to lead with this line might be, obviously, yesterday we had the untimely death of John Huber, Brody Lee, and it might be good if he is like the first one in the kind of Legends lineup.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that, and I was wondering whether it would be in good taste to do that. But now you mentioned if it could be like, this is our first figure, our first Legends figure, and it's Brody Lee in his memory. So when you put it like that, I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. But I was thinking, would it be considered a bit of a, a cash-in type thing? But
Well, I think
I don't think so. I think charitable effort as well would be good.
Well, Jeremy Padell did a tweet yesterday. Sorry, Johnny. He said, "We'll work closely with AEW to appropriately honour John Huber as his family sees fit." Then he went on to say, "Wrestling superheroes are real. The real life athletes and storytellers. With reality comes the vulnerability of the human condition." And quite a nice message. But obviously, so I think they are. Well, I think they were working with AEW about a figure originally anyway. So maybe they're obviously working closely with them to see how they can work with the family as well on that.
Is it too soon after the death to be considered a legend, or a flashback? Because it's not as if he's been wrestling very recently, so he should just be in the normal line.
I don't know. I think the word legend is a fitting kind of tribute because he has had a massive career. His career's spanned a lot longer than a lot of people think. So I do think it could definitely go down the legend line.
Yeah, do you know that I suppose with AEW have numbered the normal Unrivaled series, you could have the number one figure be Brody Lee. So that would be a fitting tribute, I would think. So yeah, when you put it like that, Adam, I think it's a tremendous idea. So that means I'm probably gonna have to change who I think should be in the initial series. Fuck it.
So I don't know whether there was like a plan involved, whether they're going to do like the Dark Order set or because I know they're looking at more sets, aren't they? They're doing the Best Friends minivan set, so that was a possibility. But
so with Brody Lee, do you think they would go with the look he's had in 2020, or would you go with the look that he had in his independent days if it's going to be a legend line, or even to look like Luke Harper? Because I'm sure that's possible. It's not as if WWE owns jeans and a vest top. So
no, well, he did wear that, or it's very similar to that in his independent days as well, I believe. So yeah. I definitely don't think they'd have any problems with the trademark on that. I don't think WWE would touch it either, to be honest, based on circumstances. I think personally they'd probably go down the more recent look because AEW is new, so it can be classed in the kind of legends line, obviously due to his passing as well, even though it's quite a new character.
Yeah, I would think I'd put the 2020 version, the normal and rival series, both have the older looking Brody Lee, that he was just before WWE as the legend. But I do think now that you've mentioned it, number one legend line should happen.
It's very toyetic as well, I think, in the 2020 look. With his entrance gear and obviously how he comes out. I think he's wore a few different outfits. I think the best one I've seen was when he beat Cody for the TNT belt. Obviously, he had Brody Lee on the other side. And he come out with the hoodie on. It was very toyetic. So I think, that would be the way I'd go. Would be that way.
Fair dues. So if you're going to pick 6 figures to do Series 1, who would you do? Do you want me to go kick it off? Because I've got them primed.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, go on.
So I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to put Brody Lee in as number 1 because I think that's a cracking idea. So it means I'm going to have to change one of mine. So I did originally have Taz in Series 1, so I'm going to take him out and save him for another line. After that, Surface Sting. I'm not really sure which attire, but probably something with pink in, because in WWE never made a pink Surface Sting. I will go with the natural Dustin Rhodes from his WCW look, with possibly similar to the Globe. And I would like a tag team, so Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express. We've seen them guys recently in AEW as a little guest spot, and they've been in NWA and still wrestling. So it'd be good if we could get that work relationship going and get the NWA tag team titles with that. And to round it out, maybe I'm being a bit unrealistic, but Owen Hart. Let's see if we can strike a deal with Martha to get Owen Hart released in this form of figures. As we know previously, she didn't want any WWE to cash in on Owen's name, which is fair enough now that you think about it all. But hopefully they can, even if it's to make money for Owen's charity, to get him released by Jazzwares, that would be lovely.
So I think if he's released, it's going to be a one on his own type of job. I don't think it will be in a series. So I wouldn't imagine that happening. I would imagine it just coming out on its own.
It is.
It's possible though, because Brett revealed the title, didn't he? So it's possible.
Brett revealed what? Sorry.
Was it on the first AEW pay-per-view? He revealed what was him and Jack Whitehall, believe it.
Yeah.
Belt, didn't they? Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Adam, should I go next?
I think the obvious two names for me would be DDP in some variety. I'm trying to think about NWA. I believe he was in that early. I might be wrong on that one. But the only other one is Awesome Kong that I can see coming out quite early in that series.
Hopefully that'll stop the customs that we see.
Is Awesome Kong recently in AEW? Is that who Brandy was?
She's still on the active roster. She hasn't appeared for a while, but she's still on the active roster.
Well, I definitely don't want her Legends line if she's on the active roster.
Yes, I know. I mean, she's been around for years and years. She was in TNA for ages, so I do personally think that she classifies as a legend. Yeah,
I'm not saying she's not a legend. I'm just saying there's a lot more ahead of her, in my opinion. Did you have a full six, or are you just going to name a couple?
No, to be honest, we've named Owen and Tully and people like that.
Yeah,
they would have made up mine.
I think, well, from Tony Schiavone, I think deserves a figure personally. That's one that I would put in there as like what they've done with Gorilla Monsoon, where they have like one where they're essentially short packet on there. That's been Tony Schiavone. I'd have a Jericho because you only had two WCW Jericho figures. One was the magnet ones, and the other one was the Lion Tamer. So I'd have one with the sort of yellow tights era Jericho, which I think one is missing from there. Christopher Daniels, I'd have on mine from his sort of TNA days. He's been around for donkey's years, isn't he? Christopher Daniels. And so, obviously, Tully and Arn as my tag team. And then I'd pop Taz in there because I want to see like an ECW Taz or an early WWE Taz.
Yeah, I think you're right with Jericho. He needs to get a WCW look figure because, they did a couple of flashback Jerichos in the Mattel line, but those were from his WWE days rather than WCW. So I'd like to see that. I just go back to Adam's DDP. We are getting a DDP released by Mattel soon in the Legends line. It was his like 2001, 2002 look. So he's still under a deal with WWE, at least until then. It's the same with Jake Roberts as well. So, and Dusty Rhodes, other people that you'd maybe think that you could get. So until those deals run out, we're not going to be able to see the figures in AEW line.
It's a shame, really, because I think they've also been released. I think the Jake figures are looking good at the moment anyway, so that's not a shame. But I think it should be good to see someone else have a crack at it and see someone take a bit more of a risk with some of the outfits than Mattel tend to.
Yeah, I imagine eventually they're going to release them. It's just a case of that Legends deal either running out, but I don't even know if they want to renew it. Obviously, Jay can work in AEW and have a WWE deal at the same time, so maybe he wants to keep that. You never know.
No, you never know. You never know indeed, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we? If there'll be anything for it. But I think with them having a TNA partnership as well, I think we have scope for some decent ones on the line, a Ken Shamrock, a Rhino, just to name two. So I think we could see a bit of a scope or a good few seasons out of it, especially looking at their roster and some of the veterans they've got on there.
Yeah, I suppose if you do release Ken Shamrock, you could release him with the NWA tag team. Not the tag team, the normal title.
And The Hurricane, Shane Helms, we saw the Ultimate Deletion, was it called, or the Sammy Guevara Matt Hardy match?
I wonder who owns the Hurricane. It's, that's maybe a muddy area as well.
Well, he appeared as the Hurricane, didn't he? So
yeah, he did.
I think they'll probably have one celebrity type of figure within the first series. You know, you've got your opportunities with the Mike Tyson,
Shaq,
or Shaq that's coming now. So you're probably going to see at least one celebrity just to boost the selling numbers.
Maybe a Jack Whitehall.
What? Oh yeah, what did he do? He introduced a.
Oh God, it was awful. He
just came out to talk basically for when Brett was doing the belt.
It is. I was watching it with the wife, and I went, "Is that Jack Whitehall?" And lo and behold, there he was, just in there. I think he did it for that TV show that he's got with his dad, Travels with My Father, I think it's called. But it's a strange thing to see.
So he has an episode there with AEW on that show, because I've never watched it. But if there is something like that, I might go check it out.
I've never watched it, but I think I think it was something to do with that. I remember reading something or hearing something that was to do with it, but I can't stand him, so I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I could take or leave. Might have a watch if he's doing a wrestling episode though.
Yeah, like the Louis Through one we discussed the other week. I haven't really watched them, but I watched the WCW one. Have you guys watched that yet?
Yeah, I'd seen it years ago. I'd have never seen it though.
No. Good, give it a watch. Then I've gone sidetracked again. Right, so bring it around. I think there's some scope for AEW to do a Legends line. I'd be interested to see what they come up with.
Massive possibilities.
Definitely. Any final thoughts from you two on that one?
Nope, all done.
Nope, but please give me it sooner rather than later.
Up to me, I would. Right, so we're all done. Nick, all done. That means next up we have the Underrated R Superstar, and it's my pick this time. So we're back in 2. Underrated R Superstar! We've all been taking it in turns and picking one person that we think is underrated. And I'm going to continue with my streak of Mattel guys. And I'm going to go with the Berserker this week. Initial thoughts on the Berserkers, guys? What do you guys think of?
You go for it first. It's your underrated. You tell us.
Go for it, sister. So the reason I've picked it is that the accessories are spot on. I think they could have cheaped out and not put in one or two, or just put in a coat and a helmet. Or I think accessories-wise, perfect. You got a helmet, you got a shield, you got a lovely sword. Boots are great. The only difference you're going to have is maybe a brown coat like the Hasbro figure. But I really like the figure in general. I don't think they could have done anything else with this one. And needed for the sort of early 90s collection for me personally. So that's why I think it's underrated, and it's very cheap for some reason on the secondary market.
Yeah, it's a cracking choice, Jamie. It is a great figure. It's got a lot of accessories, so a lot of work has gone into it. So, and I remember at the time that there was the concussion thing, which he was part of, but it somehow still got released. So I was very happy to see that. Great figure, excellent figure. Underrated in terms of value, but is it underrated in terms of quality? Has anyone said it as a bad figure?
Well, I don't hear it get mentioned as a good figure, which normally means that no one has any opinions about it for some reason. So, in my opinion, for that, it's underrated.
So, no opinion.
I definitely agree. It's from that kind of batch of figures that your Warlord, your Harlem Heat type of ones, which are actually really great figures, but are underappreciated and underrated. A lot of people moan about the Berserker not coming in brown, like you said, but you know, he wore brown, he wore blue. They've just gone with the blue, so it's no big issue for me. I think the sword accessory at the moment with Drew McIntyre will be quite a sought after accessory.
Yeah, I think
good shout.
Probably good for a Bruiser Brody custom. Lo and behold, as well, I imagine. But I think Berserker. I always remember him as an early '90s chap. I think '92 Rumble was one that springs to mind. I think I had that, and I think Take eliminated him. But Yeah, I think accessories wise, as I said before, couldn't fault on the accessories. The facial wise looks perfectly fine, doing an expression which he did. Boots look great. Everything looks great for me. As I said before to you, Johnny, if no one's talking about it as a good figure, I think it's underrated in that sense, personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's a cracking figure. I can't fault it.
No, exactly. I think it's just, I completely agree with the. I think it came out in a line that was reduced to a fiver or something in Toys R Us, which normally means that people are going to pick it up for cheap, thinking it's worth a lot more, and then the second market will be flooded with it. Hence why no one really pays big money for him, really, which is a shame for that on the Warlord. But yes, that's my underrated for the week.
Indeed.
Brilliant. So yeah, next up we have the Retro review. So get your Retros ready and get your league table ready, Johnny. We'll be back in 2. Welcome back to Retro Review. I'm going to pass straight over to Johnny. He's going to take you through the Retro Review this week.
Yes, straight on to me. So last week we had Series 6 and we put the scores out to the audience and they voted as well. So the update is that Bray Wyatt scored a 6.98 average and comes in at 9th on the table. Daniel Bryan, a low score of 5.33, which puts him 3rd off bottom. So just in front of the Xavier and Kofi from New Day is the worst. Shinsuke Nakamura gets in the bottom half of the table, 6.33 at 16th. And with the best rating overall out of them was Sting, who comes in at 6th place with a 7.24. So better than his first one, as we agreed.
That's good to see. I think, yeah, justified, I'd say, for the 4 of them. Nothing
Although
really.
the audience didn't like him as much as we did.
No. Let's move on to this week.
Yes. Would you like to kick us off with Chris Jericho to go in the alphabetical order, as always?
As always, lovely. So I picked these up from Butlins. Was in Butlins the other week, and they had some retros in there. They had an Angle, Sheamus, and a Jericho. Already had the Sheamus, picked up Angle and Jericho for £5 each, which is a bargain. Yeah, so Jericho. I like the scarf accessory. Doesn't come off, which that's some restraint. Trunks wise, bit of detail on there. You've got Goat on the back, Jericho on the front. Jericho's normally quite colourful trunks, which I'm not sure why they went for the grey on these. My only criticism, I'd say, would be that maybe bring out a colourful pair of trunks at the front, as well as the boots being grey. But yeah, quite like it. Face-wise, not looking fantastic, but decent enough. What do you guys think? Adam, what's your...
I completely disagree with you on the shorts. I think it's a great choice for the shorts. I really like them. I think the fact that it doesn't have a year on it makes me smile, because most of the Mattel ones tend to have a year on it, and I don't like that, unless it's on the back, because obviously I've got them MOC. But I love the front of them. I think it's really good. Mattel also used that design for one of theirs as well. Facially wise, it's good. It's got the angry expression, which I like. Maybe a bit too much on the mustache and goatee, I think. He was more of a kind of sparse, hairy man without it being thick. I've got the position of it MOC, and obviously it annoys me because it's got his tattoos on the picture, and then there's no tattoos on the arms, which is a bit disappointing for me. But generally, figure-wise, I like it. I don't like the action. I think the only move it goes with is one that he didn't do at that time, which is the spinning back elbow. It doesn't go with the walls. It doesn't go with the lion salt. It doesn't go with the code breaker. It doesn't really go with anything. So hit and miss for me, this one.
Yeah, I certainly sum it up with a hit and miss, because it's the first one to include a proper accessory with it, which is really good points. Certainly a good plus. On the face, it's halo there, probably too much on the goatee, as you said, but the hair is pretty well sculpted, so that's good. There's excellent detail on the trunks. I believe that it's a lot more than you get in a normal retro figure, so that is good. I'd probably agree with Jamie in saying that they could have went a different route, a bit more colourful, maybe have them in the yellow that he wore, similar to that. I don't like that the legs are painted slightly different colour to the torso. And as I said, not sure about the action as well. There's nothing much that he did. I mean, even if you want to justify it with the Adjuris effect, it turns the wrong way, unfortunately.
It's supposed to be if you look at the box, Adam, it's supposed to be a code breaker. Which
No,
yeah,
no,
I was surprised about. Not sure how it's supposed to be a code breaker.
It's not a code breaker.
It's not. No, it's luckily, it wasn't a deal breaker for me. Although I wouldn't have got it. But yeah, I agree with it. I thought it was just my one that the legs were painted differently on. But no, it's good to see that it's just yours. It's yours as well.
But yeah, I still think it's a pretty good figure, and so I'm going to kick off the scoring, and I'm going to go for 7.5.
Adam, do you
Yeah, I had it 7.2 because I still think it's a cracking figure. It's a real shame about the tattoos.
Oh,
Yep.
me and you think alike, Adam. 7.2. It's a great figure. Just could have done with a brighter colour on the trunks and boots.
Jamie's copying Adam again. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, we have Kurt Angle, which is in his all blue singlet. Anyone want to go first on this one?
I went first last time. Oh, Adam.
Yeah, it's missing the red elbow pad or elbow pad. I can't remember if it were both. I think it might. Yeah, it was both. It's missing those. I like the head. I think the head is the best one out of this series as far as likeness for a young Kurt Angle. No gold medal, which I don't know really. I'm not going to knock it points off, but it could have had them. It's a really simple design on the front of it. I would have liked a lot more detail on the singlet. I don't know if there's any on the back because I've only got it MOC. Nope. Same on the boots and the knee pads. It could have had some kind of design. The knee pads are weird. I guess they're weird on all of them, but this one I notice it particularly how small and thin they are. But it does the angle slam. You can get the angle slam on them on the move. Did I write anything else down? No, I didn't. So that's me summed up.
Yep, I agree with you. I think the action and the face are very good, very good. In fact, if we're just judging on that alone, it'd be in the 9-10s. But unfortunately, the singlet is terrible. It's not in the right shape, and there's so little detail. It really puts me off the figures, and the lack of elbow pads as well. So, yeah, some pluses and minuses, but they're both extreme, one way or the other.
Yeah, I don't want to assume I'm copying you two, but yeah, that's generally what I was going to say anyway. I think it just needs a bit more red. I think would help. And as I said, the elbow pads as well. Face-wise, really, really good. Action-wise, really, really good. Couldn't have picked a better action for him. It was just lacking a bit of oomph, a bit of je ne sais quoi, should we say?
Yeah, at least the singlet matches the box on this one because he did actually wear that. It's just a poor choice.
Yeah.
Mattel.
Can you show me the box? Yeah, I mean, you can't really say that is that. It is the right attire, but it's just done very poorly.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It
Looks a bit bootleggy.
Yeah. So, should we do some scores? Let's go Jamie first, so you can't copy off anyone.
Curtis Angel here, I will put as a 6.7.
Okay, look. Adam.
I had him down just under that at a 6.6.
No, convenient.
And I've gone a lot lower at 5.8. Fortunately, I can't forgive the detail on the singlet. Not very good. Now, I think this one's going to be the most talking points. It's Shawn Michaels from the retro. And does anyone want to talk us through this one? Or is it my turn?
I'll go because I'll at least bring the positives to the table. The trousers are really good. The trousers are absolutely cracking. There's so much detail in those trousers. If it was just based on those trousers, it'd be high up there. The action is good. The action is meant to be the sweet music. I know you can't get it perfect. You're not going to get it perfect on a retro, but I do think at least they've tried with it, which is good. And that's about where this figure stops being good, because the rest of it is the most abysmal thing you've ever seen. I'll let somebody else take over.
Yeah, I had the same positives wrote down as well. Before we get to the real negative point of it, which brings the figure down completely, it's also not a very iconic attire for me anyway. I would prefer it to be the 90s Shawn Michaels and the tights. And yes, I mean, that head, if I was just scoring on the head alone, it's going to be a 1. It's terrible, and it brings the whole figure down, unfortunately.
I'm not
It
sure.
looks
what I'm
nothing like
thinking.
Shawn Michaels.
I don't know.
And I don't even think he wore the ponytail. Certainly not in matches.
It's yeah, it's not good. So basically, it just check, Johnny. Is your arm stiff on your Shawn Michaels, or is it just the one I've got?
Yeah, they're quite stiff, quite stiff. They're like the Nick Aldis arms. Well, except they don't fall off.
Yeah, that's probably. I think action-wise, I think it's one of my favorite actions. Obviously, apart from maybe the Sami Zayn or a couple more, but I really like it. I think it's a good action. It's specific to Shawn Michaels. I think unless anyone else. But yeah, really good. I think design-wise, the trousers, Adam said, really good. I quite like it. Yeah, I agree. We should have maybe had either a DX Shawn Michaels or a late 90s one or mid 90s, but you can't go. Look at it. What were they thinking? At what point in production?
I would have loved to have been in that meeting when they signed off on that figure. I just don't get what could have possibly occurred to tick that box that says yes, let's go to mass production. I don't get it. It looks like a bad Chris Masters.
I can't even compare it to anyone or anything. It's nothing like Shawn Michaels.
It kind of looks like they sort of sent the image across to the designer who's not a wrestling fan, and for a laugh, they sent him a picture of like Caitlyn Jenner or something. Obviously formerly known as Bruce Jenner. That's what it looks more like to me personally than Shawn Michaels. Very strange. The nose is too big. Just everything about it, face wise. So yeah, it's good.
Jono, you can kick us off with the scores.
Yeah, great minds. So as I said, I would give that head a 1. I'd probably give the body a 7. So I'm going to average that out and give it a straight 4.
That's a woman described.
4 out of 10.
I'll go
Right.
next. Yeah, I agree with the head's a 1. Body's a decent 7, 7.5. 4.3 is what I went for. Landed on.
Generous.
Straight 3. I can't give it more than that with that head and with there being no detail on the top half either. It's too awful. Straight 3.
Yeah. It's a shoe-in for the bottom of the league, that one.
I think the action sort of saved it for me from being below a 4 personally. But
saved it from being a 0 for me.
Yeah, that's true.
I think without the action, it's lower somehow. Yeah, terrible.
So, finishing off the series, we've got Sheamus.
Sheamus O'Shaughnessy.
Jamie, you can talk us through this one.
I really like it, if I'm honest. I think the Mohawk looks really good. I think they could have been lazy with it, but they haven't been. Move-wise, perfect. Bro kick. Mine's a bit... Oh, there we are. Like that. I think obviously the trunks-wise, they could have maybe put... say 1 or 2. I think he normally has like the Celtic logo in the middle, doesn't he, on his trunks? Rather than Christmas wreath that he's got there. Or the loach, I think they call it. But yeah, I think fine as a figure, perfectly fine. What more could you want from a Sheamus figure that's not in the bar?
Well, I want a lot more from a Sheamus figure. I don't think it's a very good one at all. As you said, the trunks, there's no design on it. I don't even think he's ever wore anything that resembles that. And there's nothing on the back. If I was getting a Sheamus retro figure, I wanted in the iconic green look, something with the black and green. And I would prefer that it didn't have the mohawk and more the traditional, the first hairstyle he had, basically. So I think the action's good, but it's very plain and inaccurate in my opinion. And it's a less iconic look, and the face isn't perfect either. So it's not a great one for me.
So he has actually worn the front of those tights before, should I say. But Mattel have taken shortcuts on this one. I've got it MOC, and the bit where the action is shown here, you won't be able to see it because it's too far away, but it has a design within the circle, and the pattern goes all the way around the trunks. So they have obviously cut corners when it's gone to mass production on this one. Facial wise, it's all right. It's another one of those that's missing slightly. The nose ring is missing from this era, but otherwise it's not bad. I think his eyes could have looked a bit more piercing for Sheamus. But yeah, it's a corner cut figure, a rushed corner cut figure.
Yeah, I can't argue against that. Scores.
Was this the era where he had come back and was a heel? Was this that sort of era?
I would say it's more of the bar when he was teaming with Cesaro.
So I think he is missing a few things from his beard then, if we are to be...
Yeah, I don't think it's based on the things that he had.
Right, okay, that's good. That's really... yeah, for me, a 6.5. I think detail on the shorts has killed it for me. Action-wise, good. I think it looks good, but the detail on the shorts has killed it. And hearing that they've cut corners, well, that's just bloody rifled me right up for the day, Adam. Thanks for that.
Straight 6 from me.
Great 6.
It is what it is. It's all right.
Now I feel really harsh because I'm giving it a 4.5.
Ooh, wow.
I think it could have been a lot better. And as you said, cut corners. So it's cost them daily.
I think if they were ever going to do the Tatanka Texas Tornado arms, then they would have pulled the trigger on this with Sheamus as well, I think. Because it would look good with the, I can't look what a wall in the way here, but the arms that, you know what I mean, the Tatanka arms. It would look good with that. But I think they're glad that they went for the bro kick way. But yeah, anyway, they can do it, really. Okay, so we got any final points on Retro Series 7?
Yep, and that's it for Series 7.
Lovely stuff. Oh, join us for Series 8 next time, wouldn't you? Series and not season. Remember that, people at home. Lovely. We'll be back in a second with 3 points of articulation.
You what, mate?
Welcome back to the 3 points of interrogation, not articulation. That's the name of the show. Interrogation, our Q&A session, where we're looking at you, the audience, question you've asked us, and you put the spotlight on us. So, Adam, who have you got this week? Who's your question from?
My question's from somebody called Joe McDougall, a newcomer to the Fantasy Wrestling League. So welcome to the pod as well, Joe. Probably been watching this for longer than you've been in the FWL. And he asks, if you were a wrestler, Jono, you're going to have to pretend you're not here, what would be your submission finisher and your normal finisher? So let's kick off with Jono on this one.
Yeah, of course, Joe is my training partner at the wrestling school. He's the guy that we do all the moves on. So I've had Joe in several submission moves before and performed several moves to him. So if I was going to say it, I would love to do the Indian Deathlock as a finisher. Unfortunately, I just feel that it's too much of a wear down hold rather than that. Now, if you're not familiar with the Indian Deathlock, Triple H was doing it in 2003, and he did it to Booker T in WrestleMania 19. So I kind of remember that, and I really like the technical ability of that move. I just don't know if it were as a finisher. Therefore, if I was going to pick a finisher, it would be the sharpshooter, obviously. And if I was going to say my finisher move, which I'm definitely not sorted on yet, but at the top of the list for me, it's some sort of frog splash at the moment. It's the flashback frog splash, aptly named by one Jamie Wills.
It's a mouthful. It's a mouthful. When I was younger, so I used to wrestle quite a lot back in my youth. And yeah, I think ankle lock was my finishing move of choice. So I'd stick with that as the ankle lock. I enjoy a good ankle lock from the front as well. I enjoy whap it on from the front, get their leg caught in like that. And yeah, look, it hurt them quite a lot. And then Basically, the move called, well, I called it the step on step. It's sort of, I used to like about 5 or 6. Basically, imagine a curb stomp, but they're not elevated off the ground. Basically, just stamp on their head. That was my finishing move as a child. They'd be on the bed, you stamp on their head, and that would be the finishing move. But that was my moves of choices back in the day.
Yeah, that'll finish anyone off for sure.
Yeah, especially with my size.
So for my submission, I think submission moves at the moment in wrestling are lacking a lot of pizzazz, a lot of wow, unfortunately. And one of the last ones that I remember having a real impact every single time he did it was the Taz mission. So I'd definitely go for the Taz mission for the submission. And the main move, simple move, done well. If I could replicate how this man did it, I would, which is the rock bottom.
Yes, I did the rock bottom in my last training session at Joe. So I have tested out that one. Could possibly become part of my repertoire if I go down that route. Good move.
The flash bottom, to call it, which is what you did to us earlier. Yeah, I think wrestling was. I think was you guys going off. Do you ever play wrestling as a kid? I say you had the wrestling buddies and so on, but do you ever used to try and improvise wrestling moves off that?
Yeah, I used to fight with my friends and brother.
So that's sort of where you develop your moves from. Or wrestling games as well. I used to give myself the coolest move set off those as well, which is always good. But good question. That's good. Good little thinker, wasn't it?
A great question.
Okay. Right. So my question is from one Dan Harris. He says, "If you were a wrestler, what would you have as your entrance theme?" Now, I'm sure you've given some thought for this, Jono, but I'll give you some more thought. We'll go to Adam first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with one that I actually used in the Fantasy Wrestling League last year for the King of the Ring tournament, which is a really good one by Bring Me the Horizon, and it's called Throne. And it's all about basically if you were sent to the bottom with like packs of wolves and stuff, you'd rise up, become the leader, blah, blah, blah. The message is you're the leader of the pack. So there we go.
Very good. I can't say, I'll probably know it when I hear it, but I can't recall it off the top of my head. For me, what I was always using on like the Raw SmackDown games for PlayStation was Rob Zombie's Dragula. It's quite heavy metal. You could see yourself getting psyched up to it. And if I was maybe doing like a real shoot MMA fight, I'd use that. However, with the character that I'm going for in the wrestling being a flashback, I think what's going to work better is Huey Lewis in the News.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. With what's the title again?
Back to the Future.
Yeah, it's not called Back to the Future, is it? It's called
Jump.
No, it's not Jump. Although that's kind of like second.
The Power of Love.
Power of Love by Huey Lewis in the News. So that's probably where I'm going to go with mine.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I literally generally thought I was like, it's something quite catchy for Jono, and then Jump come to mind first of all, which is not Huey Lewis in the News, it's Van Halen, I believe, but same film on there. As a child, I used to always have Diesel's entrance theme, even when he left. The that one. I guess I just like the catchiness of it on there, but I think if we're going nowadays to get over in wrestling, you'd have to have a catchy theme song people could join in with. Seems to be the in thing, doesn't it? So I'd go with what I used on the video for the tag team one. I quite like the fight song that they used at SummerSlam 2002. So I quite like that on there.
I thought you were going to go.
I was imagining Katy Perry then. Fight song.
Yeah.
that wasn't Katy Perry. That was Carrie Underwood. I'm embarrassed to know. I think.
Oh. But when you were saying about you used in the video, I thought you were going to go with King of My World, which was used for Jericho very briefly. I thought that was a cracking entrance statement as well. It's one that I used on the games back in the day as well. So that was great.
Yeah, definitely give that some thought. I think I've seen someone use. I watched a wrestling show in Oxford back in like 2011, and someone used it as an entrance theme then. And the guy lost to a little person, so sort of put me off using that. So yeah, but yeah, Good shout on there. Jono, what's your question this week?
My question is from Logan Carruthers. And if you were a wrestler, who would you have a feud with and why? And we'll go to Jamie first.
I think obviously you have to go for the top of the card, wouldn't you? I think Orton would be probably the ideal person to have a feud with at the moment, only because his promo is always really good. And also you can take the legend killer gimmick and finally someone can twist that round on him, and you can have him as the legend rather than and you as the legend killer, and continue on from there. So I think he would probably be the number one person to feud with for me.
Yeah, good reasoning. I agree with that. Adam?
I think the person that I'm going to choose to feud with just opens up so many doors, so many avenues. You can do a lot with it, which is The Fiend. Hopefully elevate The Fiend as well, unlike what WWE are doing with everyone, so I'd happily lose to him. But yeah, it's 3 different characters, lots of fun involved as well, decent wrestler. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, maybe when you become a top-class manager, you could manage the Fiend. Maybe send him in the right direction.
Yes.
So mine is someone that we almost lost in wrestling a few years ago when he retired, but he came back, and it's Daniel Bryan. What a quality wrestler in ring he is. So I'd love to have, to work with him, with the reason being that he's a similar size to me, although obviously a bit more thicker and muscular or whatever. But it's someone I could do moves to, and we could pretty much beat the living crap out of each other. Maybe a technical submission type match.
Did you guys see his promo from Talking Smack last week with Paul Heyman? Did you watch that?
Nope.
No, I don't watch it, so you'll have to recap.
Well, I can't say it word for word, but it was very good, basically, let's put it that way. And I think he's now moved to the front runner for me for winning the Rumble, because he basically just sat down with Paul Heyman and said that he can't beat him size-wise, he can't beat him basically all the things that Roman Reigns has an advantage of, but he can beat him in a wrestling match, and he can beat him in a fight, basically, was the gist of it. So I think there's a good bit of scope there for Daniel Bryan to have that ascension to the top of the card again, because he's been mellowed out recently. So it'd be good to see.
Yeah, I've seen him in previous matches with Roman Reigns, and they've had some good matches. So maybe they're just going down the Royal Rumble title match rather than WrestleMania. So
no, he's entered the Rumble.
Oh, he's entered the Rumble.
Yeah,
all right, sorry.
First person to enter it.
Fair enough then. Yeah, it could be heading that way then.
2 good Talking Smack promos in a row for Heyman there. Thanks. He had a cracking one with Big E the week earlier as well.
Yeah, so I think, well, I'm not being funny. I think we have we been disappointed by Daniel Bryan not winning a Rumble before? I think we have, haven't we? At least 2 or 3 times. So I think
the belt.
Yeah, now's a good time for them to sort of pull it. I think with the Batista return in 2014, I think it was, overshadowed obviously Daniel Bryan, and everyone was annoyed then. I think they could flirt with the Goldberg return and then pull the mat from under us, and Daniel Bryan wins it. So there's some good scope there. If I was fantasy booking, that's the way I'd go.
Well, it seems like Paul Heyman must be doing well on that show, because someone linked me to the one 3 weeks ago with Kevin Owens. So there's 3 weeks in a row he's received praise for promos on that show. But so maybe it's good to watch.
He does well without actually saying a word, which I think is Paul Heyman's one of the best things he does. I think Daniel Bryan was the one talking. Paul Heyman's reactions were the ones that pretty much stole the show for me. So I think that's the genius of Paul Heyman, though, isn't it? You can sort of make it look a lot better without saying anything.
Touche.
Right, we now have the Alan Logue question of the week, should we say? Where we're looking at basically, he's asked the question of, as the year 2020 draws to a close, what has been your favourite moments in wrestling throughout 2020? He says moments, we'll do one each, not spoil him. Moments in wrestling throughout 2020. Who wants to kick us off with this?
Well, I'll kick you off by ignoring what you just said, because I'm doing 3. So let's fire through them. If we're talking about impact and talking about a jump off your seat moment, it's Drew McIntyre in the Rumble. Either eliminating Lesnar or winning it, I don't mind which. for an underrated promo, I'm going to go the Tully Blanchard Sean Spears promo from a Dark episode. I know you boys have seen it. If you haven't seen it, you've got to see that promo. It's absolutely amazing. And for my personal highlight of the year, moments of the year, it's good old Danny Burch finally winning gold.
You and your Danny Burch. But yeah, I forgot about the promo by Tully, and I think it largely went unseen because they only showed highlights of it on Dynamite, which was massively wasted because it was probably the best promo of the year. So I'll just maybe say about the 2020 Royal Rumble. The whole match was really good. With obviously one I thought about the moment of the year was the return of Edge. It's got to be up there, hasn't it? Match-wise, I really enjoyed FTR versus Young Bucks. I know you guys aren't a huge fan of the Young Bucks, but I liked when they were putting on the tag team moves of before. So that's probably my favourite match of the year, along with the 2020 Royal Rumble.
I'd say for me, I'd say it's been like some of the surprises we've had, like Jey Uso getting to the top of the card and having a couple of consecutive main events, which has been a welcome surprise for me because they've been good matches. I think they've beat the living snot out of each other, but I think that I've quite liked having a surprise main eventer come through that a few weeks before you wouldn't have seen. I think Roman Reigns coming back at SummerSlam was quite a big moment as well. It made a lot of people sort of step up and go, "Oh, hold on a second, he's back now. I forgot about him with his new teeth." I think that's been quite a big thing. The Sean Spears promo is really, really good. He did another good promo last week as well on AEW. I think personally he's being set out to be a big star, but they just don't know what to do with him because they've got all the other people need to appease. So yeah, I think they're certainly the biggest moments for me. I was just going to say the Jimmy Uso rising to the top, but as soon as you greedy guts have had 3 each, I thought I'd treat myself.
I wasn't meant to have 3. I just sort of thought of them as they came. But yeah, Edge coming back to the Rumble is probably the one moment if I was going to pick one out.
It's the first and the best.
He did have a good match with Orton at Backlash as well. I can't say the same for the WrestleMania match.
No.
Dragged and dragged.
I was surprised by the Edge and Orton match. I know they were plugging it as the greatest ever match, and I was like, setting themselves up to fail. But it was good. It was decent.
They just took the mick to me. I hated that match with an absolute passion because they did the longevity of that match on purpose to bore people because of the title. And Orton tends to do that quite a lot within WWE, and absolutely hated it. I thought they set out to bore people.
Sit on the fence.
Which one did you hate? The Backlash match you hated?
No, the Mania.
Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was no Backlash, was it? Yeah, I wonder in a year's time we'll be sitting here and discussing what the best moments we think are going to be of 2021.
Let's hope they're a bit better because there wasn't much to choose from this year, unfortunately.
Well, hopefully the highlight is that crowds are back. Fingers crossed.
You'd think so, but you never know.
You never know. Have to wait and see. But that's everything this week, I believe. Any of you guys got any final points for us this week?
I'm just going to point out this Christmas card because John mentioned one of his earlier, and I completely forgot about this one. It's a Christmas card from a charity called WrestleCares, based in the north of England. They provide Christmas shoebox presents to underprivileged children. I donated one this year. I know a lot of people donated others. They've even got a design by one of the people they donated it to on the back. Just a nice little touch. Just a thank you very much for your donation. Happy Christmas. So WrestleCares, donate if you can.
I'll put a picture
that
in there as well.
Yep, well, wait and goodbye 2020.
Yes, of course. We won't be doing this again. Yeah, next episode will be in 2021. So we'll see you guys later on, and thanks for tuning in.